Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Hi-Fi Preschool and Kids Weekly Training Podcast. My name is Rachel, and I'm here with Kayla and Crystal. We're so thankful to get to kick off the month of November with you. This month, we're teaching our simple truth that God gives me friends, and for kids, I am made for community. In preschool, we're teaching Jump In, God Gives Me Friends, and in kids, they're learning that they are made for community through our theme, Huddle Up. Our theme verse is from 1 Thessalonians 5:11, and in kids, it says, encourage one another and build each other up as you are already doing. And for preschool, we're using 1 Thessalonians 5:11a, encourage one another. So this week, we're teaching that God welcomes us, and we're in the book of Luke. As we start to think about how God welcomes us, I have a question for you, Kayla and Crystal, about community. What teams, clubs, or communities were you a part of as a kid, and are you a part of any now as an adult?
Ooh, that's a fun question. I love that question because, we're talking about community, and all month long we get to talk about how we are connected in community, which is so fun. When I was a kid, I was a big band kid. So I loved anything music related.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I didn't either.
Yeah. I played the saxophone, and I was competitive. I was first chair all the time. I had solos and things. I did state championships and got ribbons and awards. Oh yeah, I was big into it. So I loved it.
It's amazing.
I loved music. So I would be in chorus and choir and things like that too. There was a brief stint. Oh man, I may not want to share this on the podcast. Y'all, there was a brief stint that I was in show choir, which, if you know my personality, is very surprising. Because that is just, I was in sequined outfits dancing and singing, and that's just not my norm.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Are there
talking
any
about some
pictures?
character building. That was it.
Yeah,
no,
pictures,
there's no
videos.
pictures. It's all been destroyed.
Oh man.
No pictures at all.
That would be awesome.
So now that I've thoroughly embarrassed myself, Crystal, what teams and clubs are you a part of?
Listen, if you name it, I was probably a part of it at some point. Not surprisingly, I was the kid who wanted to try everything. So I did jazz, tap, and ballet. I did cheerleading, and I did football, and I did Girl Scouts, and I did band. I also played the saxophone for a year. But the one that I probably got really into, though, was theater. I started doing theater in middle school, and it was the thing I did in high school. It was more important to me than anything in the world, which is hilarious looking back. Because I'm not really involved in anything big community wise, I guess. I help out with my local Habitat for Humanity. I used to be on the board for that. And I'm a part of a community group at church. But other than that, it's just kind of okay, this is just my work feels like my community sometimes because it takes a lot of time.
Listen, we love our people, and we keep each other going and laughing all the time.
It's
and I'm
true.
sure that's the same for Kidman leaders.
Yeah.
Your team is your people. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, I love that you both played the saxophone because I played the saxophone for 2 weeks.
Really?
Yes.
2 weeks.
And then I fell down the stairs carrying it because it was too big, and I stopped playing it.
Oh man, that's so funny. Look at us, saxophone queens.
Well, I think it's incredible that we have such a wide variety of things that we were involved in growing up, and even now. God made us for community and to do life together with other Christians and other people. And it's really neat to hear how we were able to find community growing up and how we are able to find community even now in such great ways with different people and ministry and in serving together in our church. So, Kayla, how are we teaching that God made us for community this month? And why is this important to who we are because of who God is?
Yeah. So how are we teaching this month? Well, obviously we're teaching it in our main ideas, with all of the different main ideas that we're covering about how God welcomes us, how God connects us, how God values us and includes us. And so this month with, talking about being made for community, we're really talking and breaking it down each week with kids and with preschoolers about how are we made for community and why, and how does that relate to who God says that we are, right? Which is, what we do in Hi-Fi all the time. But you're going to see throughout this month that we're really leaning into the connection points that we have because of God. So that he is the initiator of that community, because he is the designer of community. He's the one who made us for this. And so it's important for us to look in Scripture and understand that a little bit more of who God made us to be and how and why he designed us for this. And so we are made to be in community with God and with other people. And we're going to unpack that more the rest of the month, to really lean into different ways that God connects us to him, God connects us to each other, the way that God values us and why that matters in relation and community, and then how God includes us. And then we also have a special Game Changer week and Hooray Day week this month. And so we're going to be talking about how God leads us to friends. You'll notice in all of our Game Changer Hooray Days, all of the main ideas is God leads in some way. And so this one, we're really leaning into that God leads us to become friends. And so every week we're going to really unpack this in a different way of how God made us for this and then why it matters to how we live out our daily lives.
Yeah, that's such a good reminder. And so this week, our Bible story, it's from Luke 14. And Jesus told a parable that said what the kingdom of heaven is like, and it compared it to a man who prepared a party. So everyone who was invited could not come to the party. And when the man throwing the party found out that none of the guests could come, he told his servant to invite the poor, the blind, and those who could not walk. And so, Crystal, how does the story of the party banquet show that God welcomes us, and how can we respond?
Kayla really set this up for success, because one of the things we discovered in planning all of these Bible stories is that there really are two parts to every story. It's the idea of our relationship with God and then our relationship with other people. As we develop these incredible relationships with God, it impacts and affects the people in our lives and the way that we live, the way that we have friendships. And so this story is such a great one to kick off the month. As we think about the fact that this man planned this party, and it was amazing and it was extravagant and it was lavish, but then all the people he invited made excuses not to come. He opened it up to literally everyone. Anyone who would accept an invitation was welcome to come and be a part of this family. And so preschoolers and kids can know that God welcomes every single one of us. He invites every single one of us to know him, to love him, to be a part of his family. We don't have to do anything to get ready for it. We don't have to be really good. We don't have to make ourselves fancy. We don't have to live this sinless life. God just says, I want you to come and be a part of me. And so that's so great for preschoolers and kids to learn that I am invited and welcomed to be a part of God's family. But then the other aspect of it is when we say that this invitation is for everyone, this invitation is for everyone. And so we want to encourage preschoolers and kids to look around them and say, God invites every single person that you will ever meet to come and be a part of his family. There is nobody who is too far gone. There is nobody who is too sinful. There is nobody who is not, who is so unworthy that they cannot come. And so it's really cool to know that we're teaching kids and preschoolers both that they themselves are made for this community with God, but also that everyone around them is invited to be a part of this community as well. So we can be a part of sharing about the invitation. We can be like the servant in the story who welcomes people to come to the party. So I think it's going to be a really fun week as we teach both those things.
Yeah, I love that you talked about how it's not just preschoolers and kids who are invited into this community, that everyone is invited to this community. And I think it's even important for us to remember that we as adults and our leaders are invited as well and can be connected in community. So why is it important that leaders are connected in community and not just serving?
Yeah, this is such a great question. I was at a conference recently and I overheard a conversation. I promise I wasn't eavesdropping, but I just overheard this one line in the conversation. I was like, oh, that is so good and so true. And it was a ministry leader sharing with another leader. And he said, I have a lot of connections. I don't have a lot of friends. And I thought, oh, how accurate is that for so much of where we are in life right now with technology and social media and this almost false sense of connection to people that we don't actually have friends and friendships. And so, I think that's one reason why it's so important that we're connected in community. We're not just serving, is that, we need that too. As leaders, we need friends. We need people we can lean on. We need people we can say, hey, I need you to pray for me today. Maybe you're able to share what's going on. Maybe you can't, but whatever the reason, but finding those people to connect with and to be in community with, to let other people see you for who you are and not just serving out of an empty cup is so important. And I would say a second reason, and then I'll turn it to Crystal because I'm sure she has way better answers than I do. But another reason I think it's so important to be in community is to be able to not place your full identity in kids ministry.
Yeah.
It's so easy. Y'all, it is, my Southern Mississippi is coming out. Y'all, it is so easy for us to look at serving as not only our mission in life, but our identity. And that is who we are. It is, Miss Kayla who teaches first grade, not Miss Kayla who plays saxophone. And so being able to remember that what we do is not who we are is really important. And that is helpful when we can be in other places and spaces, rubbing shoulders with other people, being reminded that we have the amazing privilege to serve in ministry, but it is not the full capacity of who we are as people.
Absolutely. I think it's easier to just serve. It's less risky. You can be less authentic. You don't have to be vulnerable. You get to just show up and pour out, and nobody needs to know what's going on with you. And so I do think it can be easier, but that doesn't mean that it's the best. Even thinking about this Bible story, it's not that God welcomes us to just serve him and just pour out. God welcomes us into relationship with him and relationship with others. And so it is a good thing for us to take the time. And really that can be part of what it comes down to as well. If you are serving once every other week, if you are serving every single week, sometimes you've got leaders who are serving every service. We need to be intentional about making time for these connections and these relationships because they don't just happen in passing in the hallway. With Hi-Fi, we love providing you with a huddle because we want to help build those connections between leaders. However, 5 minutes of connection time once a week is not going to be what actually builds these types of relationships. And so just knowing that it's really good for us to recognize the value of it and make the time. But also I would say we're setting a good example for the preschoolers and kids in our ministries. When we're saying we want you to find community and belonging at church, one of the great things we can do is share stories about us living in community and belonging at church, us being able to share how I got to know that both Rachel and Kayla played the saxophone like I played the saxophone. That's something that we wouldn't know if we didn't have this connection. And so we get to show preschoolers and kids the value of community simply by living in community and being a part of community and having those relationships.
That's so good to hear, and a great reminder to us all to lean into community. And this week, we have an incredible opportunity to be in community together. We're at Etch this week, so come by the Hi-Fi booth and say hi to our team. We cannot wait to see you. Thank you all so much, and thank you for joining us, for using Hi-Fi, and for building real connection and true belonging in the ministries you lead. Until next time, know we are praying for you and cheering you on.